An elderly veteran was denied entry to a ceremony honoring his unit. Guards dismissed him as confused. Then the presidential motorcade arrived, and everything changed in a way that no one expected. Marcus Holloway was 73, weathered and soft-spoken, dressed in a threadbare khaki jacket, approached the National Memorial gates on a cloudless November morning, clutching a single faded photograph in a cracked plastic sleeve. In it, a young soldier in dress green stood at attention, eyes fierce and certain. Two guards in black polos blocked the entrance. They had tablets in their hands. Invitation and ID, the taller one said without looking up. Marcus handed over his driver's license and the photo. The guard swiped twice, frowned. "You're not in the system. This is invitation only." "I was invited," Marcus said quietly. "I served with the men being honored." The second guard crossed his arms. "No confirmation, no entry. Security protocol." Marcus stood motionless, the photo trembling slightly in his hands. The contrast was stark. An old man who looked like he'd wandered in from a bus stop, holding evidence of something the guards couldn't see. Far down the avenue, engines rumbled. A motorcade was approaching. The invitation had arrived 2 days earlier, slipped under Marcus's apartment door in a plain white envelope. He'd found it when he came back from the VA clinic, almost stepped over it. Inside, a single card on heavy stock. "You are cordially invited to the Veterans Day ceremony at the National Memorial, November 11th, 10 hours. RSVP required." At the bottom, smaller text, honoring the 1st Battalion, 5th Infantry Regiment, his old unit. Marcus had sat at his kitchen table for 20 minutes just staring at those words. The apartment was small, tidy in the way of men who live alone. His wife's photo still sat on the bookshelf. His medals, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, one other he never displayed, stayed in a drawer wrapped in tissue paper. He hadn't asked for recognition, hadn't sought it in 50 years, but this wasn't about him. It was about the men who didn't come home. He'd tried to RSVP online. The link led to an error page. He called the number listed. It rang to a full voicemail box. A younger man might have pushed harder. Marcus simply decided he'd go anyway. They were honoring his brothers. He had a right to be there. What he didn't know, his name had been flagged for VIP seating, but a database migration had wiped half the RSVPs, including his. The ceremony coordinator, drowning in logistics, never caught it. The event itself was no small affair. The president would attend. 3 Medal of Honor recipients were speaking. Secret Service had locked down 6 blocks. Security was airtight, contracted to a private firm staffed mostly by young men who'd never served, who knew procedures but not the weight behind them. 2 of those guards now stood at the main gate. Devin, 26, ex-college athlete hired for his size, and Malik, 24, earnest and rule-focused, who saw his job as keeping chaos out. Behind them, inside the security perimeter, Captain Elisa Torres paced near the coordination tent. 32, Army Public Affairs, 7 years in, she was the military liaison. Sharp, competent, by the book. She'd been told to ensure smooth operations. 0 incidents. She had no idea an incident was already forming at the gate. Now that motorcade was still minutes away, and Marcus stood at the gate with nothing but a photograph and a promise he'd made to dead men. Devin, the taller guard, held up the faded photo like it was a grocery receipt. "Sir, this doesn't scan. We need digital confirmation. QR code, an email, something in the system." "I don't have that," Marcus said. His voice stayed level, but his grip on the photo tightened. "My RSVP didn't go through, but I was invited. This ceremony is for my unit." Malik stepped closer, tablet angled like a shield. "What's your name?" "Marcus Holloway," Malik typed, frowned, typed again. "Not coming up. If you're not in the database, we can't verify you." "Then call someone inside," Marcus said. "Check the VIP list. Check the unit roster." Devin shook his head. We don't have access to that. Protocol says no entry without confirmation. A woman in a red coat slowed on the sidewalk, curious. Then an older man with a camera. Within a minute, a small crowd had gathered, phones rising like periscopes. Marcus felt their eyes on him. Felt the weight of judgment forming before anyone said a word. "I'm not trying to cause trouble," he said quietly. "I just want to honor the men I served with." "Sure you do," someone muttered from the crowd. Malik keyed his radio. "Captain Torres, we need you at the main gate." 30 seconds later, Captain Torres arrived, clipboard in hand, her uniform crisp under the morning sun. She assessed the situation in a glance. Elderly man, no credentials, small crowd forming. Exactly the kind of incident she'd been told to prevent. "What's the issue?" Devon gestured at Marcus. "He says he was invited, but he's not in the system. No RSVP, no confirmation email." Torres turned to Marcus, her tone professional but firm. "Sir, this is a high-security event. We can't let anyone through without proper credentials. I'm sure you understand." "I do understand," Marcus said, "but I'm telling you I should be on that list." 1st Battalion, 5th Infantry, Vietnam, 68 to 70. Torres scanned her tablet, shook her head. "I don't see your name anywhere. Without verification, I can't make exceptions. It's a matter of protocol." A younger man in the crowd raised his phone higher. "Is this stolen valor?" he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Marcus's jaw tightened. His face, weathered and proud, flushed briefly. But he didn't defend himself, didn't pull rank or raise his voice. He simply looked at Torres and said, "Please, call someone inside. They'll know who I am." "I can't do that," Torres replied. "We have procedures for a reason. If I bypassed security for every what?" Marcus interrupted, his voice still calm but edged now. "Every old man who doesn't look the part?" The crowd had grown to 15, maybe 20. Some filmed, some whispered. Marcus stood in the center of it all, alone, humiliated but refusing to leave. Torres gestured to the guards. "Gentlemen, hold your position." "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step back." Marcus didn't move. He just stood there, holding a photograph of the man he used to be while the world decided he wasn't enough. Marcus didn't move, but inside the perimeter, someone else did. Helen Garrett had been studying the display panels when she heard the commotion at the gate. She was 64, a Gold Star mother who'd spent 3 years researching her son's brigade after he fell in Helmand. The memorial had mounted historical photos of the units being honored, black and whites from Vietnam, alongside color prints from Iraq and Afghanistan. She'd been standing in front of one particular image for 5 minutes. Young soldiers in jungle fatigues, mud-streaked and exhausted. One man in the center with a field dressing on his arm and eyes that burned through the lens. The face was older now, weathered by 50 years, but she knew it instantly. Helen turned toward the gate, saw the crowd, saw the old man holding a photograph. Her breath caught. She walked quickly to the checkpoint, her Gold Star pin glinting on her lapel. "Captain Torres?" Torres turned, irritated by another interruption. "Ma'am, we're handling a situation." "That man," Helen said, pointing at Marcus, her voice urgent and clear. "That man is a Medal of Honor recipient. I've seen his photo inside. He's part of the display." Torres blinked. "Ma'am, I appreciate your concern, but—" "I'm not guessing," Helen interrupted. "His name is Marcus Holloway. He saved 12 men in the Ia Drang Valley. I've been studying his unit for 3 years." "That's him,"